Joining us now is Andrew Zolden of the Drive the Lane podcast, one of Ohio State's premier athletic podcasts, who has had some major guests throughout the years, including the guy sitting in the middle of our panel today, Tyvis Powell. What's up, Andrew?
What's up, guys? I'm hoping this is really, really good for you to bump off a Didi for me, so apologies in advance if it's not up to those standards.
Yeah, if you suck, man, we're going to be ripping you. That's pretty simple.
Andrew, you're not going to suck. We know who this guy is. Andrew's a professional. Give us the treetops of this Notre Dame Ohio State game. I'm a lifelong Buckeye fan. I've got concerns for sure, but I feel the Buckeyes are going to win. Am I wrong?
I don't know if you're wrong. I feel like they're going to win because I run probably the most biased Ohio State podcast in the world, and I don't know if I've ever said they weren't going to win. However, this is the first time I can remember in a long time where I confidently do not think the Buckeyes have the better quarterback in the matchup. I think that Sam Hartman is incredible, and I think there's a good chance that the Ohio State staff is like, hey, why don't we look at doing a one-year option with a portal quarterback in the future. So wow. I think it's going to come down to a battle of the quarterbacks. Ohio State's always prided themselves on developing players and having it be their guys. But if Hartman's the far superior quarterback in the matchup, I think it says not just a lot about, the Notre Dame team, but the state of college football as a whole. However, the one thing I think about this game is, and I'm sure Tyvis has alluded to it, you can still win the Big Ten and make it to the college playoff with a loss. So there's probably some world where a loss could potentially be a good thing. But obviously you never want to lose a game. But Tyvis, think back to, Virginia Tech. That game didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
But it wasn't a good thing, though.
No, it wasn't a good thing, but it happened early enough where the Buckeyes were able to dig out of that hole. You don't want to lose late.
I mean, you got to listen. The Ohio State will have a chance to pile up some quality wins over Rutgers, Indiana, and Akron. So those games are meaningful.
Akron's not on the schedule.
By the way, is there anything dumber than college football polls before the second to last week of the season? Anything?
Nothing dumber. From college football polls, except I'm a believer that the college football polls do whatever they can to make the matchups as close as possible, whether it's a top 10 matchup, a top 5 matchup. I'm surprised that the polls didn't find a way to make this Notre Dame team in the top 5, at least going into this game. Normally they do that. I'm sure they'll say, if Ohio State wins this game and then Notre Dame loses another game, all of a sudden this will be a non-meaningful win for Ohio State. We see stuff like that happen every year. But I'm a little surprised that they didn't make these teams at least a little closer in the rankings for this matchup.
Andrew, in the past, for the past couple of years, where really since Ryan Day has taken over, this passing attack has went completely bonkers. I mean, you got quarterback and wide receivers going first round. But the running game hasn't been up to par in those few years. What have you seen out of the running game this year? Because I think I've seen something that Notre Dame struggles with the run.
Yeah, so going into the year, I said take the under on every TreVeyon Henderson bet. 1, he's been injured. 2, they have like 7 running backs that they rotate in and out. And after week 1, we said on the podcast, if you have 5 running backs, you don't have 1. You got to establish by the Notre Dame game who your guy is. And I do think finally it looks like, we're getting old TreVeyon Henderson back. He looks good, I think 90 or 100 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. If they can establish that early, as you know better than anyone, that's just going to make it so much easier to get the ball to Harrison, get the ball to Ibuka, open things up for McCord. So, yes, maybe Notre Dame struggles with the run game, but if Ohio State's getting cute early on and giving multiple guys carries and not really establishing one guy or finding the one guy that's going to, break through the defense in this game, you don't want to be, in the second, third quarter still figuring out which guys you want the ball in the hands of. And you may feel differently than me about that, but I'm happy that at this point in the season, heading into week 4, that, Ohio State seems to have their offense established. How mad are you if you're Marcus Freeman and last year you played Stroud week 1 and this year you had to wait until week 4 to play a team that had, a quarterback competition. They were probably so upset watching that week 1 game against Indiana, thinking this is the week 1 team we could have had this year. Last year we have to play
no kidding.
at Ohio State week 1, C.J. Stroud, who has more 300-yard games than Fields in 2 NFL games already. So if you're Marcus Freeman, you're like, hey, this is the best opportunity we're ever going to get to beat Ohio State, but I kind of wish we were playing them week 1.
Well, what about on the defensive side of the ball? Is there any concerns there?
So I texted you not to ask me about the defense, so I know you're doing that.
That's why I did that.
Good job,
exactly why I did it.
They have not let up many points this season, which they haven't played necessarily teams that you'd expect to put up a lot of points. But everything I saw and everything I read was Western Kentucky is going to give Ohio State a game. They're going to score. They're going to get up and down the field. They have, I think their quarterback last year led college football in yards.
Yes.
And, best receiver is going to be an NFL player down the road. So it's good to see that they shut down that offense, but this is a different level. It's Notre Dame. It's at Notre Dame. It's Sam Hartman. You're potentially, with Kyle McCord, he's turned the ball over more than you would like. If you're giving, the defense bad positions, you're giving them the ball on the wrong side of the 50. You're, getting back on the field quickly. Tyvis, the defense can get tired, and you could have a long drive that results in, 3 points, or it results in a turnover late in the drive, but you still don't want to get back on the field quickly. I think sometimes with Marvin Harrison, you have a long defensive drive that results in a stop or 3 points, and then all of a sudden it's 2 plays and Marvin Harrison is in the end zone and the defense is running back out there. I wondered are you more pumped up when something like that happens? Like, hey, we get to go back on the field. We just scored a touchdown. Or are you like, come on, we just 1 minute of rest? Come on, what are we doing, Marvin?
Now you're
not complaining about a touchdown.
I'm about to say I'm gonna be more pumped up. Who's your X factor for this game offensively for the Buckeyes?
Ooh, I'm going to give you a good answer, and I'm going to give you an obvious answer. The good answer is offensively, it's Sam Hartman, even though he's not a Buckeye, because we'll see if he's the best player in the game. But it's got to be Kyle McCord. If this is the game that he proves I'm here, this is the lowest my Heisman odds are ever going to be, because now I'm going to be 4-0 after a win over Notre Dame, and maybe throw $5 on me to win the Heisman. But there's just no way that that's not going to be the difference maker. I can't see this being a game where, Ohio State all of a sudden, TreVeyon Henderson's having a 200-yard game, or all of a sudden, they're doing these slant passes and they're beating the defense. Like, it's going to fall on the quarterback. And, this is going to answer a lot of questions and shut up a lot of fans. I saw Joel Klatt said, hey, the Ohio State fans and the Ohio State media, which is all of us, treat it like they have to win every game. If they lose, they get killed. If they play close to bad teams, they get killed. So even last year after the Notre Dame game, they won. It was the season opener, and everyone was like, why didn't they score more points? JSN got hurt. The season's over. It's just I'm kind of similar to the Browns if you think about it. Watson, one bad game, and we're all ready to throw the team away, me included. But, like, this is just the game where Kyle McCord can say, everybody shut up.
Yeah, it's fair. Deshaun Watson has played 8 bad games for the Browns.
Come on, Andrew, you're being too nice, bro.
Andrew, let me tell you something. I'm sick of hearing for the guys who complain about Ohio State fans being too tough. It's college football. 3/4 of the season are meaningless games with meaningless opponents for Ohio State. So those wins don't mean anything. I don't care what they do against Western Utah State, okay? There's 3 games that matter, and one of them is Michigan, and Ryan Day can't win that game. If you were the athletic director at Ohio State, and they're going to need a new one, so here's your chance to audition for the job. If you were the athletic director for Ohio State and they lose again to Michigan and don't survive that and win a championship, lose to Michigan and either don't make the playoffs or lose in the first round, are you firing Ryan Day? Yes or no?
This is what I'm doing if I'm the AD, and this is a great question because I have a great answer for it. I am praying that the Tennessee Titans have the worst season they've ever had.
Yeah.
And I'm praying that Ryan Day looks amazing besides the Michigan game. He accepts an NFL offer as either a coordinator or a head coach, and then you slide Vrabel in. It's a nice peaceful.
Andrew, did you just admit are you saying you're gutless? You don't have the guts to make that call. Let's go.
You can't get the job, Andrew.
I'm saying I am still trying to get Ryan Day to come on my podcast. And just like I will never utter a bad thing about Coach Holtman because he keeps coming on our show, I'll never say a bad thing about Ryan Day until he comes on the show. Then we can say whatever we want.
All right, very good.
Makes sense.
There you go.
Andrew,
Smart man.
you can come back. You were fine.
Prediction. What's the prediction?
Ooh. Ohio State wins by a field goal. It's a close game.
Sheesh.
All right, I'll take
Cover.
it.
Cover.
That's not a
They
cover.
win, but
I don't
don't
care.
cover.
Who cares about a cover? I'll take it.
Don't
Slack
cover.
it.
No, I'm with
56
you.
nothing.
The cover matters. They don't cover.
Don't
All
cover.
right, very good.
Wow.
And